Thanks, Kent. Appreciate everyone being here today. It's an exciting time for us. Finally get to kick off the season here with the first practice on Wednesday. This summer and fall has been all about laying the foundation, what the culture of the program we want it to be. And I'm excited to get started on Wednesday because now it's about competition and a player evaluation and really start to determine what our core group is going to look like. So best time of the year for us, first day of practice on Wednesday. Love to open it up for any questions. Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach. Glenn West with Go247. Just, when you kind of mentioned it here, but, I mean, you guys, you come back with 3 players that you brought in from Murray State, but this is pretty much a brand-new roster. Just how do you go about evaluating this team in terms of the roles that are going to be defined this year?
It's a great question, Glenn. We've started that process. It's been a little bit of a different year for us and how we want to build our team. I would prefer the summer and fall to be more player development driven, a lot of individual workouts and so forth. But with us having essentially 13 new players, new staff, we've done a lot more team events this summer and fall to start to build the chemistry of the group, to start the installation process of offense, defense, and special team schemes. And then now I think as practice starts, ultimately the players will determine who plays through their production on the court in practice, their ability to impact winning. And so we'll have very competitive practices. I'm an equal opportunity there. You can come and earn as many minutes as you want and really work to determine your role within the team. Where I might vary from others, you won't see us running any platoon systems. 12 players aren't going to play. We like to get to that top 8 or 9 and keep our best players on the floor as much as possible. So these next 6 weeks will be critical in determining who those guys are going to be.
Yeah, Ron Higgins, Tiger Details. Your 3 Murray State guys, have they kind of been your kind of natural leaders so far because they've been through your system? They know, the workouts, the discipline. Have other players kind of gravitated to them for answers?
Well, I think that's part of the goal for them. They certainly have a great understanding of what we want the program to look like, how we should function on a daily basis, what the energy in the gym at practice should be like. All of those things are very important. But I don't ever want to put a limit on who the leaders are of the team. I've been a part of great teams that just had 1 leader. I've been a part of great teams that had 5. I think Armani Wilkinson and Adam Miller, certainly with their familiarity here with LSU, being high-level players, those are also great candidates to be leaders of the team. But out of that Murray State group, I think Juice Hill, being at the point guard position, that's a critical part of being the point guard, is the ability to lead and impact others, set the tone for how we work, how we communicate in practice. I think he's done a terrific job of that.
Hey, Coach. Henry Huber from the LSU Reveille. Retaining a player as talented as Adam Miller had to have been a huge plus entering your first season. What was his attitude like when you got here, and how has it evolved ever since?
Yeah, Adam's been terrific. Love him. Obviously a very good player. Can really shoot the ball at a high level. What I've enjoyed most about coaching him, he is a relentless competitor, incredibly smart, has a great basketball IQ, and he wants to win. And so I think it's going to be important for him not only to carry the load on the floor himself as a player, but to be a leader on the team. All that being said, I think we have to temper expectations for him as well. This is going to be a process. He hadn't played college basketball game in 18 months. He's been cleared for 4 weeks. So it's not going to happen overnight, but he's going to have a great year for us. Been an absolute joy to coach. Been a lot of fun to build that relationship starting in the spring. And, quite frankly, was honored he chose to stay and be a part of what we want to build here at LSU.
Hey, Coach. Matthew Burney from On 3. Obviously, you have the 4 freshmen that you added. What have you seen from them and how they've approached working, getting to know you, getting to know the staff, and getting to know how to approach college basketball?
Been a lot of fun. It's a process. Everyone's on a different timeline. Some guys it happens right away. Sometimes it could be a semester, could be a year. But with the freshmen, I think you look at Jalen Reed, had an unbelievable offseason in the weight room. 6'10", 235 pounds, highly skilled. Like Adam Miller, a very smart player, really has a great understanding of the game. And he's not a 6'10", just back to the basket guy. He's today's era forward, skilled on the perimeter, can really pass it, create off the dribble. He's going to be an outstanding player for us. Tyrell Ward has really made great progress since the start of the fall semester. 6'6" wing, can score it, athletic, just wants to be a great player. So with that being said, he invests a lot of time in it, and you start to see the production as he continues on his journey. Big Sean Phillips, 7-footer. He's 245 pounds right now, was 320 pounds 2 years ago. All right, so you see the commitment he's made to improving. He's a guy who can protect the basket, with his shot blocking around the goal. It's just going to be a matter of continuing to learn the system. And then Cornelius Williams had a good summer. He's out right now with a shoulder injury. Don't have a timeline on how long he'll be out, but he will certainly miss majority of the preseason at this point. So, but overall, been really pleased with their transition from high school to college, and I know they're excited about the start of practice.
Hey, Coach, Peter Rodriguez with the Reveille. Since you've been here, how far along would you say this team is in terms of just gelling together? And then overall, what have you been most impressed with this new group?
I've been most impressed with the character of our team and the work ethic. I think those are great ingredients when you're trying to take 13 individuals and build them into a successful team. You have to start there. So it's been a lot of fun to coach our group. You see us getting better every day. Obviously, still have a long, long way to go. But I think when you have those core values that we always talk about, hard work, unselfishness, toughness, you're able to start that process of getting better every day and building a team. I think the chemistry is going to be important for us as we build our group. And a big key is one thing I'm looking for with the start of practice is we need leadership. We need leadership to really start to emerge. I think player-led teams are always going to be a lot better than coach-led teams. And so that's where guys like KJ Williams, Juice Hill, Adam Miller, and Monty Wilkinson, counting on them to really step forward into those type of roles for us.
Yeah, Michael Cobble, WBRZ. You kind of just touched on it, but you have such a blended roster of so many different levels of where they are in their basketball journey. Was it important to kind of send them off on their own and do all the trust fall team building type stuff that you would over a summer? What did you learn, I guess, outside of the hard work and commitment about your team that maybe gives you hope that they can gel and become a unit?
Well, I think it's important with every team that chemistry is developed. It's especially challenging for us with everybody being brand new. But I think you have to be intentional in how you go about building your group. So we've been trying to do that through team meals. We did the escape room, bowling, some of those things outside of basketball, tailgating, going to the football games. Because at the end of the day, you have to build that trust within the team. And the only way to do that is to invest the time, to have a high level of communication within the program. And I think some of that then starts to fall back on the players. They have to be intentional too in how they build relationships with each other so we can start to develop that trust on the court.
Matt, I think y'all have surprised a lot of people in the media, people in general, with the roster you're able to build concerning the uncertainty with the NCAA situation. Were you pleasantly surprised at all that players bought into the message that you were trying to sell? And what do you think was the factor that allowed you to bring players in from all over the place that under somewhat uncertain circumstances?
Well, I'm excited with where we landed, considering the circumstances back in the spring. I think recruits, players, their families, I think they're all looking for some of the same things. Genuine, real relationships, a player development plan, a style of play that fits their game, an opportunity to come in and get better and prepare, hopefully to have great success here at LSU, and also set yourself up to have opportunities playing at the professional level when you leave. That it's an all-encompassing plan with our players, that they know we genuinely care about our players on and off the basketball court, that we're going to take care of their academic plan as well, and that we're going to invest and care about them as people. And I think, regardless of the circumstances, those things have to be at the foundation of what we're trying to build here. So I'm excited with where we landed. I know we've had all the stories about how we built the roster from 0 to 13, and it was fun doing all those. Now it's time to get to work. We've turned the page from that. Our roster for the 22-23 season is what it is. And I'm excited about turning it into a really good basketball team, starting with practice on Wednesday.
The NCAA stuff still hasn't been resolved. So what is the motivation for this team? How do you, get them in the right direction and knowing you don't know the end game this year. You have no idea if there's a tournament for y'all or not a tournament. I mean, how do you keep them focused on, I guess, getting better and not worry about what's going to happen in the future?
Yeah, I think simple but boring answer. I mean, we got to control what we can control. Whatever's happened in the past, I have nothing to do with it. We have nothing to do with it. We have nothing to do with what happens NCAA-wise moving forward, so we don't ever talk about it. I came here to LSU to move the LSU basketball program forward and to build a championship program, and so we focus on that every single day. Players come here, they want to get better. They want to win. They want to be on the biggest stage in the country here in the SEC, and they want to prepare to go play in the NBA one day. And so I think it's important that we just keep our focus on that daily process of how you going about getting there.
Hey, Coach, just when you're looking at establishing an offensive and defensive identity with this group, how much of that were you able to do over the summer, and then how much of it, kind of dictates what you see over the next 6 weeks?
I think a good question, Glenn. I think, like most coaches, I have a certain system, a foundation that I believe in, schemes on the offensive and defensive end of the floor. But then at the same time, I think it's the coaching staff's job to put our players in the best position to be successful. So as we start to see our top 8 or 9 guys really evolve and establish their roles on the team, then it becomes our job as coaches to make sure we're building a system that's going to fit their strengths and give us the best opportunity to win games. And so I think we have a good foundation in place, what our concepts are on the defensive end of the floor, how we want to play offensively, and now we can really get to specific details these next 6 weeks of who needs to be shooting the basketball, where the ball needs to go, really developing our balance inside, outside, and I think you'll start to see that emerge in the coming weeks here.
How do you want to break up the 6 weeks? What do you break it down into thirds? How do you approach it so that you're ready to roll?
Mike, I like the new change. I guess it's been 6-7 years now. It used to be you always started on October 15th. Now going back 6 weeks, this 42-day window, we can be on the floor 30 days with our players. So I think it allows you to break it up, keep them fresher. I think the players like it because the preseason conditioning program's shorter. And then we like to go to start. We'll go 3 days on, take a day off, 2 days on, take a day off, and we'll do that all the way up until our first closed scrimmage toward the end of October. But it's really, it's full go at this point. We don't have necessarily an offensive day, a defensive day. Each day will consist of offense, defense, special teams, and player development. Big believer in that. We'll do player development, individual skill work every single day until the season ends.
Hey, Matt, Sheldon Mickles at The Advocate. What did you see in Kendall Coleman so far that he averaged a double-double last year at Northwestern State? What do you like about him, and what do you have any other injuries besides Cornelius Williams?
With Kendall, motor and physicality. 6'8", 235 pounds, really strong, physical, plays extremely hard. So he's been our leading rebounder up until this point through summer and fall. He's continuing to learn and get a better understanding of how we want to play and in all our different schemes. But most importantly, extremely hard worker, plays with great energy, brings a lot of toughness to our front court. And then injuries. Really we've had some guys banged up here and there, nothing serious. Adam Miller is fully cleared, as I mentioned earlier, so he'll be full go when we start on Wednesday. Cornelius Williams will be out. I really should expect everyone else to be good to go when we start up Wednesday.
Hey, Coach, here in the middle, Jacques Doucet, WAFB-TV. I was just curious, what's it been like to be part of the entire LSU landscape when you've got Kim Mulkey coaching the women, Brian Kelly coaching football, Jay Johnson baseball, and so forth? It seems like all those coaches say that we all kind of raise each other's level.
It's been awesome just to be at LSU. I mean, I'm incredibly appreciative of the opportunity. There are a million reasons why I chose to come here. But that is certainly one of them, to be around, you're talking about some of the best coaches in all of college sports, Hall of Fame coaches. And so the opportunity to learn from them, to look forward to sneaking in the gym and watching some of Coach Mulkey's practice today, and I'll have my notebook out, always trying to learn and get better. Seeing how Coach Kelly has managed the season to this point, just really trying to learn, and you're always trying to steal something here and there that you can apply to your program to help your team be better. So it's awesome. It's a special place, unbelievable brand, and on top of that, the passion of the fan base, which we all have gotten to see here these first 6 months. Now really excited to get to the start of practice and get ready for opening night on November 9th.
Hey, Coach, Ed Daniels from New Orleans. I know you can't talk about this, but it looks like you're having success recruiting the New Orleans area and the state. The 2006 Final Four team had a lot of Louisiana kids on it. I wanted your impressions of the state, and moving forward, how big will it be for you in recruiting?
Well, we need another cycle like that to come through in the state, where there are 5 Final Four starters within an hour of campus. But I love the state of Louisiana. We've had players there during my time at Murray State and elsewhere. The high school coaches have been awesome. It's been great getting to meet so many of them. Expect to have quite a few of them at practice over the next 6 weeks as we look to build those relationships. But we always want to do a great job recruiting the state of Louisiana. We know a lot of these high school players have great pride in LSU and want to represent their home state. So we'll continue to do a good job there, building those relationships across the state.
When you look at Armani, what do you see for his potential? I think we've seen he wants to be a better offensive player. He wants, but ultimately it never came to fruition. Where do you see his growth this season?
Well, I have high expectations for Armani. I love him. He's been absolute joy to coach. He is a warrior. He's a winner. He embodies everything you want in a member of your team. He's had great success on the defensive end of the floor as an elite defender. He's a terrific athlete, which allows him to be a great offensive rebounder, and outstanding when you look at the percentages on catch and shoot threes. My goal for him is to see him take on an expanded offensive role, and a guy I expect to have a breakout year for us scoring the ball. And the final piece of that, Mike, is the leadership piece that I mentioned. I think when you have a player with that type of toughness, who wants to do whatever he can to impact winning for his team, although he's sometimes quiet, that opens the opportunity for him to be a great leader for our team.
Hey, Coach. Koki Riley with the Daily Advertiser down here. So when you have two guards like Cam Hayes and Justice Hill, two kind of ball-dominant guards, do you think those two guys can sort of play together, or really with the guard rotation in general? You have a lot of guards, so how do you sort of manage not just the playing time with those guys, but also the sort of chemistry with all those pieces involved?
It's a great question. I think that the answer there is twofold. I think, number one, those guards, it's up to them to establish their role on the team through their production and practice. And number two, I think it's up to the coaching staff to then identify which guards give you the best opportunity to win and then build your offensive, quote, playbook accordingly. I've been a part of teams where we had one point guard and he played all 40 minutes. I've been a part of other teams where our two best players were our point guards, and we played those two guys together 37 minutes a game. So we're certainly not married to any certain system, or you got to be, one point guard, two wings, two forwards. We want to get those 8 guys on the floor that give us the best opportunity to win. So I think you'll see a lot of that start to play itself out here in the coming weeks as practice gets going.
Just curious, what is it too early to tell about your team? Do you feel like you have a pretty good handle on it, or is this thing wide open?
I don't have a handle on it at all. It's going to be a process. That's why I'm so excited about the start of practice on Wednesday. We haven't faced any adversity at all other than a couple tough conditioning workouts here and there. So you get in practice. My goal as a coach is to create some chaos out there in practice. Find out what we have and find out who we can become. So I don't really have any great answers for you here today, having not started practice, but I think it'll start to emerge as we go through these first 4 weeks. Then you get to those 2 close scrimmages. We have the option of playing exhibition games. I didn't want to do that. I wanted us to play close scrimmages against other D1s so you can find out where you stand going into November. So sorry to be a bore, but we'll find out. These next 4 weeks will tell us a lot. Those 2 close scrimmages will tell us a lot. And then, as I tell our team all the time, they'll determine their roles. Coach and staff will help define them. Then it becomes up to them to accept them. The last piece of that is role evolution. I think I got to be able to tell a player where he's at on November 9th, and here are the things you can do to increase your role. Our NCAA tournament team, 2018, the 2 forwards who started on opening night for us didn't play in the NCAA tournament. And 2 guys who didn't play on opening night ended up being the starters in January, February, and March. So I think, and that wasn't my decision, the players decided that by how they played on the court in practice and ultimately in the games.
Anybody else? Coach, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.